Hey, how's it going, YouTube? I'm back from the Beal, and today I'm going to be talking about why Bradley Beal could be one of the most underrated / disrespected players in the entire NBA. Now, this is obviously coming after all the All-Star teams just now came out, and he got completely snubbed once again from the All-Star team, and I'm going to be getting into a few things in this video that I personally think it proves that he is very underrated and very disrespected, not only this year, but in the entire time he's been in the NBA. Now, I probably could have made this similar type of video with Devin Booker, but I just decided not to because a lot of people were talking about Devin Booker getting snubbed, but I do not feel like enough people were talking about Bradley Beal getting snubbed. So yeah, I'm getting to that. If you do like the video at any point, hit the like button and subscribe button. It would mean the absolute world to me. And without further ado, without rambling on too much, just get right into this video. Alright, so the first thing we're getting to for this video is going to be what he has done for his entire career since he was drafted. Well, since he was a rookie, he has averaged at least 14 points per game, and for a rookie to come in and average 14 points per game is very, very impressive. And then you add that on that since 2016 he has not averaged less than 22 points per game. Well, I mean, that is very, very impressive. I mean, 2016 was what, 4 years ago now, so for the past 4 years he's been averaging at least 22 points per game every single year, and has been a very high impact, very high win type player. Like, he can help your team actually win games and can be the second best player on a championship team. So I mean, Bradley Beal has been very impressive for his entire career and has definitely been putting up all-star numbers his entire career. And now, not only his entire career, but this year mainly. This year he is averaging 28.7 points per game, 1 steal per game, 6.4 assists per game, and 4.5 rebounds per game, and he is doing it at shooting an extremely efficient 45% from the field and 32% from the three-point line. And to make it even more impressive, over the past 5 games, he is averaging 39 points per game, 6.8 assists per game, 4.6 rebounds per game on 40% three-point shooting and 54% shooting from the field. He's probably having the best 5-game stretch of his entire career, and I mean, I made this guideline a day yesterday, so it was before his game where he just put up 34 points in his last game. So he is still continuing that hot stretch, and this is probably the best 6-game stretch he has ever had in his career, and he's having a career year on a lot of stats, and he is just playing out of his mind. And if you ask me, I think 28.7 points per game with damn near 7 assists per game and 5 rebounds per game is by far good enough to make an all-star team, especially even in the East with the guards. And I mean, you can do this. If you compare all the Eastern guards that made the All-Star compared to Bradley Beal, you really don't match them up. Trey Young is probably one of the only point guards or only guards in the All-Star game that you can really compare to Bradley Beal's play this season. I mean, Trey Young, he's only averaging 1 more point per game. They're on similar efficiency and very similar among all stats. The only difference is Young's team has 3 less wins, which I'm not going to really hold against him because it's an individual award to make the All-Star game. It's not really on like if your team's good or not, in my opinion. The only thing I would say that kind of benefits Trey Young in this situation is that the fact that his team is so young and so just not that good that the entire offense literally has to run through Trey Young. At least on Bradley Beal's case, and then with the Wizards, they have Roy Hachimura, they have a couple other players that can get their own shots. Literally outside of John Collins, there is nobody on the Atlanta Hawks as of right now that is developed enough or good enough to get their own shot consistently and help Trey Young out. So Trey Young pretty much does everything offensively and everything, and he's a great player, don't get me wrong, and I would say Trey Young is probably the only justifiable guard in this All-Star team to put above Bradley Beal, but in my opinion, I feel like they're pretty even. But now Kemba Walker. Now, don't get me wrong, all the point guards and all the guards on this list are very good, but Kemba Walker is averaging 6 less points per game than Bradley Beal. He's averaging less assists per game. He's shooting a less efficient number from the field and the three-point line. Now, yes, the Celtics are a much more successful team, but that is mainly because, 1, the Celtics have a better overall roster, but 2, that that shouldn't matter, because this is about an individual reward, not how good your team is, because a player cannot control how good his team is, especially when the GM does not know how to put together a good team. And I mean, the Wizards have shown some incompetence to put together a good team for a while now, and I mean, Bradley Beal is pretty much doing this all by himself, and he's having a way better season than Kemba Walker right now, no matter how you look at it. I mean, there's no way you can say Kemba Walker has had a better season than Bradley Beal, and I mean, he made it over him, obviously, in this All-Star game. And this is probably by far the biggest, just most ridiculous one yet. Kyle Lowry made the All-Star game. Now, he literally only made it because his name is Kyle Lowry, and he was good. He's still a good point guard, don't get me wrong, but he's nowhere, and I mean nowhere's near putting up the same amount of points, same amount of impact on his team this year that Bradley Beal is. Lowry right now is only averaging 19 points per game, 4.6 rebounds per game, and 7.3 assists per game. Now, those are good numbers, do not get me wrong, but they are nowhere near Bradley Beal's number. And to put it all on top of that, he has much less field goal percentage, and it's almost identical three-point percentage. So, I mean, while Lowry isn't even the best player on his team right now because they have Siakam, I mean, it is very, very hard to understand how Kyle Lowry made the All-Star team and not Bradley Beal. And I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion, to say that. And if you're trying to use the argument, well, their teams are a lot better than what the Wizards are, then how come Trey Young made the team, how they're putting up very similar stats and their teams have very similar records, the Hawks and the Wizards? And so you can't use the argument about the team success, because that just wouldn't work, knowing that the other two players that made it aren't having anywhere near the season that Bradley Beal is currently having. It's just absolutely ridiculous, and I don't think any player should get disrespected. Devin Booker was another very big snub, but like I said earlier, I just made this video on Bradley Beal because I don't think he's getting enough recognition for how big of a snub he actually was. But unfortunately, guys, that's going to be it for this video. So comment below, do you agree with me? Do you think Bradley Beal is a very disrespected player? Do you think he's underrated? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. If you do like the video at any point, hit the like button and subscribe button. It would mean the absolute world to me. All glory to God. All praise up. If you need it, just know I'm praying for you. I love you. So yeah, see you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah.